Welcome to the KC Football Fix podcast. You're listening to a Chiefs Alumni Spotlight interview. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen. And don't forget to subscribe to the KC Football Fix newsletter so you can get all the latest Chiefs news summarized into a 3-minute read and delivered to your email inbox every weekday morning during the season and a couple of times a week in the off-season for free. Not only do we give you all the latest Chiefs news, but we love to give away tickets, memorabilia, gear, and more to our subscribers. Go to kcfootballfix.com or click the link in the show details to join more than 4,000 other Chiefs fans that get their daily fix of Chiefs news all in one place for free. Chiefs Kingdom, I'm excited to welcome Dwayne Bowe to the podcast to discuss his career with the Chiefs and hear his take on the Super Bowl-bound Kansas City Chiefs. Before I welcome Dwayne to the show, I just want to share a few of his highlights from his career with the Chiefs. Dwayne was a first-round draft pick in 2007, the 23rd overall pick out of LSU. Played 8 years with the Chiefs from 2007 through 2014. He had 532 receptions in his time with the Chiefs, which is third all-time in franchise history, 7,155 yards for fourth all-time in franchise history, 44 touchdown receptions, and he's tied with Tyreek Hill for the single-season touchdown reception record with 15 from his 2010 season. Dwayne, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Dwayne, I want to start off, and I'd love it if you just told Chiefs Kingdom a little bit about your life story and how you ended up getting into football and your childhood journey. I know that it's a little bit unique. You grew up in Miami, and I believe grew up with your grandparents. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Will you just tell us a little bit about your childhood, and then how did you get into football?
I got into football, from Miami, Florida, real rough area, raised by my grandma, me and my eight siblings. And, just being from Miami, a lot of gang activity, a lot of bad things happening. The only things that was good happening if you played sports or you stayed in school. And, I was actually going to get into some trouble and actually fought one of the guys that played football at my high school, New Orleans Senior High. And the principal said I either expel you or you could join the football team. And I said, well, my grandma, she'd kill me if I don't, finish school. So I tried out for the football team. I was actually pretty good. The coaches seen I had unique talent. And, from 7, I haven't played until, my first time playing football, I was 17 years old. So from there, I went from, unheard of to this superstar in high school, then going to LSU and, breaking all the records there, then getting drafted to Kansas City, doing some amazing things there. So, my journey started off from getting in trouble to now mentoring and being at the top of, everybody's list when it comes to, advice and, getting through the struggle and actually being a role model. So it was a pretty unique journey. I didn't start till I was 17, and that's why I still love the game. I didn't get forced to play it. I actually did it to make a change, and I was actually good at it. So to sum it all up,
that's amazing. I love that story. Thanks for sharing it. I want to ask you a little bit more about it because I think it's such a unique story and powerful story. Tell me about like your first experiences with the game when you actually joined the football team. Well, I'm guessing junior year of high school, 17 years old. You've never played organized football before. It's, hey, you're expelled or you're on the football team. You join the football team. Like, is your head swimming? Like, are you just like overwhelmed by the sport, or is it just you picked it up naturally? You had great coaches. What helped you?
I had great coaches. I could say that. And at first, it was the first time I touched it. I actually ran the wrong way because I didn't really understand it. So some of my guys from high school still pick on me with that. But I've caught on fast. I had some great coaches. One of my coaches that's in Kansas City still, Carlos, he mentored me, made sure I went to 7th period, Saturday school, night school, to make sure my grades was top tier for college. And, it was just an environment once I chose football that kept me humble, kept me on the right path. I couldn't do it without my coaches that believed in me. And once I picked it up, it was like riding a bike. And I was big, I was fast, I was physical. And, once you have those three intangibles, you just, need a little bit of brains. And went to LSU and, I had Coach Saban. And so you know how that gets. And he prepared me for the NFL mentally, physically, and spiritually. So once I went through those intangibles, going to Kansas City was pretty easy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, tell us about getting drafted by the Chiefs. Did you expect to get drafted by the Chiefs? Did you know it was happening? Were you surprised? What was that process like for you?
I was surprised because I never heard of Kansas City before I got drafted. Because I really didn't even think I was NFL material. I just wanted to stay out of trouble and finish school, and I'm glad my coaches did a great job of not telling me how good I was. Or you can go the first round. You just gotta. They just always made sure I went to class, made sure I was studying, made sure I was making A's and B's in college. And when that day came, I didn't even go to the draft. I stayed home and had a little party. And we was just kicking it, and like my phone rung from 816. I'm like, "Who was this?" And the answer was Carl Peterson. Herman was. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, Kansas City." I'm like, "Kansas City." They were like, "What? Where's that?" I'm like, "I don't know." And from that day, it changed my life dramatically, man. I had an awesome career, met some good people in Kansas, and still going back. And now I'm getting ready to travel up there for the Super Bowl and shake hands and take pictures and kiss babies. So
No, I love it, man. That's so awesome. Well, let's talk about your career with the Chiefs. Let's talk about that 2010 season first. You set the record at the time for the most touchdown receptions in a season with 15, and you guys went 10-6 that year, made the playoffs. Tell me about that season for you. I mean, it was quite the season. What was that like? Yeah, having that kind of season.
it was very stressful. I tell you that. I had to be on my A game the whole year. There was no playing around. I had to put my family on the back burner. I just had a baby. I just had my first son, and I had Todd Haley, and he was just so. He was like, "You want to be like? I want you to be like Fitzgerald. I want you to be the top. You have to do this. You have to. It's no off season." And I did exactly what he said. I went and trained with Fitzgerald the whole off season. Couldn't see my family. It was a sacrifice that I made that showed in the books that it paid off. And it was like one of the best decisions I could make was having like discipline and having coaches that was seeing the bigger picture and knowing that it's a business first. Being that young and doing so well in sports, you're not knowing the business side. You have to keep going. They have to keep. And that year, I think we went the first 10 games. It was like 9-1, I want to say, and we was rolling. And a lot of guys bought in. A lot of guys was, they wanted to go the other way when stuff was going good. And I'm just glad that I had the discipline coming from college and in high school to just keep my head down and not look at stats and just play every down like it was my last. And that's the kind of season that it turned out, record breaking numbers. So it was pretty tough because I had to put a lot of things on hold that I actually love. But then when I understood the business part of it, it made it more easier for me.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Uh, you also experienced some pretty tough seasons with the
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs. I was looking through. I think 5 out of the 8 seasons you were there were losing seasons, and there were 2-14 seasons. Uh, Talk to me about some of those tough years. What was that like for you as a player, like mentally? What's it like to get through a really bad season?
It was mentally, like I said, college prepared me mentally for the NFL, knowing that you can't win them all. Like everybody's good. It's like the top of the SEC every game, and just remembering those 2 and 4 seasons or the losing seasons. I actually had great seasons, but to look around the overall, just to see the energy on the team and people going back and forth with the front office about how much money they need to be making and they work this and that. It's like I never did that. I always let my play show, but like I said, it was a business. Most guys was playing on 1 year base. They had 3, 4, 5 kids they had to take care of, so their mental wasn't strong enough to just trust the process and play through it. And I think that's where Andy Reid does a great job. He got guys trusting the process. Like even Snead, he's not even looking that he's the best DB in the league right now. He's just out there going through the next play, the next play, the next play, and he's putting on crazy numbers. That's one guy I could say if I was playing today, he'd give me a challenge. Because that guy, he balls out every week and he doesn't talk. I never talk trash. I just go out there and I let my play shows. And like I said, those seasons was such a blur because it was so much turmoil going on. But me as a player, I always just focus on me. I was making sure I was good in the community, doing things. The front office loved me. Everybody in Kansas City loved me, no matter win, lose, or draw. So that's what I took in from those seasons, and I just catapulted to the next year and just tried to get better.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for sharing about that. I can only imagine the tension in an NFL locker room when you're going through a season like that, because it's everyone's livelihood on the line too. The coaches, the players, the front office, right? Like it or not, like you guys it's a performance business. You're judged on wins and losses and results, and it impacts your paycheck, right? And so I'm sure that's challenging, especially if you feel like guys aren't all rowing in the same direction. And I think you mentioned there, I think that's part of what Andy Reid is so good at is
Right.
getting guys to buy into this team mentality. And that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about. I think one of the interesting things about your career is you experienced a lot of challenging years with the organization. And then your final 2 years with the organization were Coach Reid's first 2 years. And so I think you have a pretty probably unique perspective on what it was like before and after Andy Reid. And so I was just wondering, could you talk a little bit about what changed when Andy Reid came to Kansas City?
The culture, it was, Big Red is more of a player's coach. He's more like a father figure to the guys. It's from him having older, successful players that he's coached. And by the time he came to Kansas City, a lot of guys was getting older. We had an older team. It wasn't like those 2-14 seasons. We had a young team. I was probably the second oldest at 23, 24. So I think, the front office, Mr. and Mrs. Hunt, when they brought Andy there, they just knew the talent that he's coaching, the mindset that he had for the players that was in Kansas City at that time. And going from Herm Edwards to Todd Haley to Romeo Cornell, the list goes on the head coaches and the assistant coaches I had. I think once Andy got there, he's all those in one. He can be a head coach, he can be a position coach. He's going to talk to you as a player's coach and not just sit on the throne as a head coach. And I think that's where, the culture changed. Like he's so into it. He doesn't leave the office till 2, 3 in the morning. He has to be back at 6, So that shows a lot about, a player's coach that wants to see his guys do good. And it's not about, the money with Andy. Andy wants to win. He's not going to have guys on the team thinking about money. He's going to have you thinking about winning. And that was the difference when you get a young team and you build them all the way up to where now they know it's just win, win, win. You're going to get the money later, but you have to perform. And I think him letting you show your character, show who you are, and just be yourself. A lot of guys play on, pins and needles because they can't show their characteristics. They can't show them being lovely. Can't show. It's such a hard physical game that some coaches around the league want you to be a monster 24/7. Andy, he promotes, going to the Christmas parties, you're going to go hang out, get a driver, stuff that grown men going to do anyway without trying to put shackles on you. And I think that's one thing guys realize, like, wow, after the game, I can go out and have a drink and, be with the fellas and not get in trouble. But when we was there, Everybody was on pins and needles because they went out, they were drinking. It was like, oh, your job is done. You got to move from the city. So I think he just made it comfortable for guys to play. Play in their own skin and just be all on one accord.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying there is like he trusted you guys to be adults a little bit, and maybe you didn't feel that before. Like
Right.
that's so interesting because you hear so many guys talk about how he is a player's coach, and I think that fleshed out what that means a little bit more. Like his players feel like they have his trust. He gives them trust and treats them with that respect that I mean everybody wants as people, but I'm sure pro athletes, right, as well.
Right.
I'm curious a little bit. He's Coach Reid is praised as such a genius offensive mind, and I'd love to know a little bit about what stood out to you in your time under Andy Reid about his ability to teach, because I think that's one of the things that he probably doesn't get enough credit for is his ability as a teacher.
Right, and it's also the recruiters that recruit the guys that's getting drafted. I think now they're recruiting and signing guys that are coachable. It's not about the talent because Andy's going to bring the talent. His coaching staff going to bring the talent out of the players. But if you're not coachable and you think you're bigger than the system, which a lot of guys in the previous years was because they didn't get the proper training and proper coaching from college to prepare them for the NFL, I think that's where he excels, that he's getting already coachable players and he's just making them great. He's showing them that you can be yourself, come to work, do your job, and I'm gonna give you all the free ram in the world. And I think that's where he excels. He just finds guys that's coachable and make him better, and not look at film prior to him picking you up. It's all about the reviews when he go to recruit you. And is this guy likable? Is he coachable? Is he marketable? And I think that's what he attacks and exploits, and that's how you get great players at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's really good. You mentioned that he's a player's coach too. It's really been in the media even the last few days as people have been talking about the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl and some of the struggles they went through this season. And actually, Clark Hunt talked about it. Brett Veach talked about it. Patrick talked about it after the win over the Ravens. Was Coach Reid's consistent leadership. That he is constant. Will you talk a little bit about what you experienced as far as his leadership in your 2 years under him?
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's like if a guy's on fire, he's gonna put gas on. He's gonna just keep you lit. So if you can show consistency, he's gonna show consistency, and you can see how those guys are winning, how those guys are money in the playoff, during the season, big games. The players are consistent, but they get the consistency from Andy. He's the same way in the morning. If he don't get his hamburger, cheeseburger, he will be a little bit off. But other than that, this guy's gonna come into work with a great attitude, great energy. Speaks to everybody. Practice squad. He's the same guy, and my previous years it was totally different. Guys that wasn't producing, barely said said anything to him. But when Andy got there, he's like a father figure. It's like having a dad that you know me. A lot of guys, from my era didn't really have, and it just the way he promotes family, the way he's just an all around positive player, and I think that energy spreads around the organization, and if you can catch it, you can play. And I think a lot of guys on there bought in, and that's why they at the success level they're at right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, it sounds like he makes everybody in the organization feel valued. And I mean that's such an important part of a great team is that everybody's bought into it, from the guy at the top to, like you said, the guy in the practice squad that's never going to see the field, but they all feel like they have a role to play into it.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I want to hear a little bit about what you're doing right now, Dwayne, in your life, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Chiefs and their Super Bowl against the 49ers that they have coming up. But before we talk about that, yeah, tell me what you're doing now in life. How are you spending your time, or the things you're involved in? family, all those things?
Okay, full-time dad. Have a son that's just started his first year in football. He's 12, and he has had an MVP season at running back. His first year, he had 12 touchdowns. Um, so being a full-time father now that I have the time is my biggest goal. I also love music. I was doing music actually before I ever started playing football. I'm actually in my studio right now, cooking up right now. Um, I make music for different movie soundtracks, things like that. And I'm also into real estate. My wife is number one realtor in Miami, Florida. So, I go around buying properties, fix them up, um, sell them. So right now I'm just in my little, I could say, in my locker room right now, and I just handle my plays accordingly. But my first goal is to be a good dad with me and my family, my wife, and you know, it's fun. I like the little space I'm in right now, and I mentor a good number of guys that's in the NFL right now, and I just stay in my lane and you know still enjoy watching sports. Still like being a part of the Chiefs, and I'm glad they're winning because when they win, I win.
I love it. That's awesome. Are you coaching your son's football team, or did you?
I'm not coaching it yet. This is first year. I didn't want him to be like
Yeah.
that. But they're asking me. But I told him,
Yeah.
I wait till he get in high school. He's only in the sixth grade.
Yeah, that's fair, man. That's awesome. Well,
I don't
that's
want to
great.
take I don't want to take the fun away. I want him to go out there and just be himself, be a leader, do his thing. So that's what he's
Yeah,
doing.
that's good. That's what it's all about for kids. That's awesome. And like you're a testament to like the earlier you get them into it doesn't necessarily mean the better off it's going to be, right? You didn't start until your junior year. So that's awesome. And I hope that your son loves the game and it's great for him too. Well, let's talk about it right now. Hey, just give me your reaction to the Chiefs win over the Ravens in the AFC Championship game.
It was ecstatic. It was ecstatic, but I mean, Money Mahomes in the playoffs, you can't go against that guy. 25, 1-2. I mean, you have to be crazy to go against a guy he's the Tom Brady in the modern form. And, when everything's going your way and you have Taylor Swift, it's tough to beat. End of the day, this is still entertainment. I want guys to understand. And if you can entertain at a high level, I mean, why not? Why not put all your eggs in one basket? And he's been doing this before Taylor Swift got there. The organization has been polished for the last 5-6 years. So it's like no matter what you say about those guys are gonna go to work. They don't. One thing about Kansas City, they do not listen to the media. They don't. Andy blocks all of that off, and he has his 3-4 guys that's doing the interviews, that's trained to not take any bull crap and dish it out there. And I think that's where a lot of teams don't have. They don't have the mindset. Guys are going to talk trash. It's a competitive game, but the Chiefs you never hear a guy talk trash. You just hear him. He go out there and ball, and let the results show you. And I think these guys going back to back and back to back is just show you how great the organization is and let you know how great the players are. And I'm very excited for them.
I love it. Talking about the Super Bowl, you have any keys to victory for the Chiefs? What do you think they need to do well to beat the 49ers?
Definitely run the ball. Pacheco's going to have his best game. Money Mahomes, he's going to do it. He's going to do his magic. If you get another performance out of Kelsey like that, he was nasty. He was a dog this game. I like that Kelsey. I had to put the call in and say, I need that dog back when I was there. And, one thing about Kelsey, man, he's going to fight to the last whistle. When I was there, when I had him those 2 years, he told me, man, he appreciated me showing him how to be a professional, how to come every day to work, sick, hurt, whatever. Like, I barely missed any games, and I was beyond hurt. But like I said, it's entertainment, it's a business, and as long as you can go, you can go. And I think, it's going to be a tough game, but can't. It's like Brady losing in the Super Bowl. It's not happening.
I like it. What's your score prediction for this game?
I like it being, since it's in Vegas, I like it being 35-31 game.
35-31 Chiefs, I'm assuming.
Of course.
Of course. I like it. Well, Dwayne, before we wrap it up, I've got a few rapid fire questions for you. You ready for them?
Let's go.
The first one is this. I wish I would have known blank before my rookie season.
I wish I would have known about the holdout era before my rookie season, knowing I didn't get paid for those days before when I was held out my rookie year, because we was on Hard Knocks, and it kind of made me look bad, but I didn't know, get the contract done, get out there, it was business. So I wish I would have not held out to get that stigma my first year coming in.
Good to know. The thing most people don't realize about being a professional athlete is...
The things people don't realize being a professional athlete is being a professional athlete. And that comes with being a public figure, family man, guy that has to come to work, a guy that has to wear 8 different masks before he comes back home. And that's what people think. Professional guys are not human. We're human. We're put on our clothes the same way. We just have a lot of pressure, and I just wish, fans and people, when they see us out, to don't make it all about football every time they see us. Like, let's talk some regular, conversations like me and you had, and just, see where that go.
Yeah, I love it. The next one is, the coach that had the greatest impact on my life or career was...
The coach that had the greatest impact on my life and career. I had some great coaches, man. Can I list a few, or I just have to?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, I'm gonna say my high school coach, Coach Osagata Carlos. My college coach, Coach Saban, and I would say Andy Reid, for letting me be, the guy I am today. Let me play with my character. Let me be the show. Let me, embark with the fans, and those 3 guys took my level, my game, my confidence to a whole new level. So I want to thank those 3 coaches.
I love it. The most memorable game I played in as a Chief was...
The most memorable, oh my gosh, it was the playoff game in Indy. Had a great game. It was up 21, and it was actually it wasn't a great memory because I caught the ball, but I was out of bounds. That would have put us in field goal range to win. But I also had a broke foot that nobody knew, and I taped it up, and I tried to, do my best. But that was the most memorable game, was playing in Indy in my first playoff game.
Wow. Yeah, Ooh, broken foot, man. Playing on that. Yikes.
Thank you.
Last rapid fire question. Describe playing in Arrowhead Stadium in just one word.
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking. That's good. I love it.
Definitely.
That's really good. Dwayne, this has been awesome. Before we wrap it up, tell the listeners, where can they connect with you, learn more about what you're doing right now, or anything else you want to share with them?
You can follow me on Instagram at _MoneyBowe, Facebook, Twitter, the same. And yeah, I'm easy to get in contact with. And you're now tuned in with KC Football Fix. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the shout out. Well, Chiefs Kingdom, thanks for listening to the podcast. And Dwayne, thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed it, like Dwayne said, make sure you hit subscribe and leave us a rating. And don't forget to go to kcfootballfix.com or click the link in the show details to join the more than 4,000 other Chiefs fans that are getting their daily fix of Chiefs news all in one place for free. Thanks for listening, and go Chiefs.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Luke. You're the best, brother.